Hello there everyone and welcome back. It is time to have a little bit of fun, I want to say. For this fleet I am going to be utilizing this time is mainly just for fun fleet. It's a bit of a ridiculous fleet since I don't think I've seen anyone else do this type of strategy unless it's with the Tau, and even then that was way back before the Watercast Ambassador or Diplomat was nerfed. Before this worked kind of like how the Tyranids hive mind, I forget what that trait's even called, but how that worked where you're completely immune to mutinies so long as the flagship was alive. This used to be just like that, and as a result, 4 crew war spears with a light cruiser just hiding in the middle of nowhere was kind of a pretty prevalent fleet. But we're going to be having fun with the Roks, as I said already, and I don't really get that benefit, especially since I am going to be kind of foregoing the Wog song for maximizing the potential of my battleship. Not that, don't get me wrong, the Wog song's probably pretty amazing. It can be really tricky to utilize since, from what I understand, this should only work at 4,500 unit range from the flagship, and I don't know if you need to stay within that radius for the 30 seconds or just when you activate it. At least that's my understanding. It's possible it may have been bugged at one point and it's more effective than it should be, but either way, the strategy, as I already hinted at, is pretty straightforward. The Roks are completely immune to critical hits outside of like critical hits from boarding, which Orks are pretty good against boarding in general just because they're better at it and have more crew as a result. So that's pretty nice for me, and if I do ever get a fire result from the boarding, since I'm not really using emergency repairs at all, ideally, I have a way to easily deal with the one main damage dealer to these ships, which is the fires. They have extra hit points just by default compared to all the other ships of their class weight, so it helps there. And maybe, if I'm so lucky, I can get away with the bullies for morale or just not use them at all, I suppose. It's really tricky to think of what I would actually want to use the command skills for, I guess. Now that I'm saying it out loud, Call Arms is not really needed because that just cripples me, and if they do enough boarding damage to just force fire assaults anyway, this is not really helping me in all honesty when I could just gracefully take the boarding hits and then just transfer the crew over should it get disabled, and then emergency repair when it has like 4 or 5 fire assaults as a result of said boarding. But the real trick, the real fun to be had with this fleet is the combination of the tracked cannons, which, if you did not realize, it states enemy ship, but this also works against friendly ships as well. It can be very useful at dodging torpedoes, forcing my Roks to ram into them, and a whole bunch of other wacky shenanigans. But like I said, this is more of a for fun fleet. I don't expect this to go well, but my initial use with this fleet has been very promising. The only fleet this suffers against is really those that rely heavily on ordnance and bombers primarily. So Tau can be very problematic, Tyranids especially, since they can just recharge their ordnance at will. And anything else that could possibly outmaneuver me, like Chaos and the Eldari, could be a bit problematic. But it's been working well in all the other matchups, I want to believe. But it has been a while, so maybe I'm just delusional, trying to hype it up unnecessarily, for the downfall that is to happen. But either way, let's have some fun. Oh boy, this is going to be interesting. Normally the Orks that you typically encounter are the Evil Sons. At least that was the most predominant type of sub-faction, mainly because you get access to... I can't remember if it's fast to recharge on the big red button, the boosters, or if it just lasted longer. I honestly can't remember because, if I'm so honest, oh god, why is my Discord being stubborn on me? I hit M, I believe, and it muted my mic, so that's going to be annoying for that, because I don't know why it's happening now and hasn't been like that before. And that was also a stupid idea to alt-tab out. This is going to go well. At the very least, I don't need to hit M for any reason, so I think I'm good. It's just a question of how I want to group up my fleet. Since again, the Roks are ideally going to be taking all the hits, the battleship's going to support them and have the extended range from are big guns, and keep in mind, if you don't understand what the Flash Gets upgrade does, it basically considers my accuracy to be 4,500 unit range closer, for purposes of when you're looking at the accuracy of the weapon. So short range is technically medium range, so 50% accuracy there, with the potential of doing some damage at long range because of my lock-on. It may not sound very exciting. Oh god, not only that, I have to unhook my second monitor. This is getting better and better. So, let's try and correct this, shall we? And I want to get my frigates grouped up. Otherwise, yeah, this looks pretty straightforward. So I'll unhook my monitor in a moment, I guess. And that is everyone? No, it's not. Yep, I can't move. I can't scroll to the right, so give me a sec. Alright, there we are. So these are all mega cans. This can be a bit problematic, but again, my Roks have A3 armor all around. It is a question of what do I prioritize though. This is still a scary fleet, let's not lie, even if it is like basic upgrades. And no track can, I'm assuming, by the upgrades. So without a doubt, this is still going to be tricky. I need to make sure all my fleet is able to, well, the Roks are going to be amazing for this, because they can have 360-degree firing arcs, so if they're in the middle of everything, in theory, I can hit 2-3 ships at once. It may not do me a lot of favors, especially if they try and focus down the battleship. So it may not be as exciting as I make it sound. Only thing I got, yeah, and that more DACA, that can be terrifying as well. I just don't know if that is negated by armor or not. So if I fly in the middle of those, even if with the reduced defense turrets on the Ork battleships, that's gonna hurt. And I'm trying to, I do not see a track cannon on any of them. So I'm relatively safe there. And actually, let me just boost on forward. They got Ravagers, so that's an odd frigate choice. As the Ravagers are possibly the, I believe they're called the Ravagers anyway. Those should be like the worst of the Ork frigates just because of the limited uses you have of the torpedoes. Never mind the Onslaughts and Savages are so damn good in comparison. I think the Onslaughts are the best DPS for the point values you put into them, just because they have the long range. So if you're able to fire with them constantly, that's where it adds up. Never mind the A3 armor on top of that. I'm going to grab points there. I'm okay with having one frigate over there to eventually grab the point. And I'm going to be mindful that I am not going to get this objective in my very well. I'm going to have it neutralized in a moment.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Locked on, boss.
And I should have had lock on earlier, but this can work well. And I do have 200 mobility, so there is possibility I can outmaneuver them, if only barely. And you're just gonna hide in the gas clouds, I'm assuming, or the asteroid belt. Although it wouldn't surprise me since you are also using the wrong type of frigates. So it's possible you may not be getting the full value out of them, and you are turning to engage my Roks. That is fine. I need to be very careful of my battleship. It is a bit of a liability if I'm not careful. Now dodge that. Get the battleship to do some hits. And ideally, well, I could kill off the frigates really well, but the problem is the flagship is going to get separated in a moment. And they are going after as a result, so... And I probably should not have boosted in all honesty, but... we can potentially punish that. Potentially. Oh, no, they're coming to me. So can I dodge that? I have the speed. I just barely dodged it anyway. Alright, dodge that. I won't. I think that one rock's gonna get stuck in the track can though. And I really want to see the range on my mega can. Dang it, you're not letting me do this. And it saddens me a bit. I don't know why I can't see my battleship's range, because I really would love to know when I can actually hit them with the friggin' mega cannons. Oh well, we're getting some hits in.
You have seized a strategic area.
The boarding is not very problematic yet. But can I get in mega can range to punish this? Because this will hurt a lot, but can I make it work? This could be very good just because of the rear arc, and if I can hit multiple ships, that would be great. And actually just go reload stance, ideally. That is sadly gonna die. Not much I could do about that. Actually, have it execute, then lose all the crew. It's not gonna do it much good, but if it could get a couple more shots, that'll help a lot. Because this looks like it could be painful if I do this right. Although not all of them can boost. Even though I'm hitting the booster button, it's clearly showing me that it can boost. So this is still gonna hurt. I have plasma bombs. They have one charge left. Can we make this work? Because sadly my rock's gonna take a bit of a hit here too. Now boost behind them. The flagship's about to break somehow. So if we can force that to break, that could do something good for me. Not really much, because I have yet to actually destroy or get a critical hit anywhere useful. Now that it's permanently damaged, that helps, but we need to kill it again for that to really matter. Now track cam can force. This is going to get scary. This is really scary, but it's still in my advantage. Now it's just a question, I think I wait for it to mutiny first, if I'm so honest. Get behind them as much as I can. Yeah, the flagship's about to break. That would be amazing if I can make it break before my own flagship takes a big hit. Because I am leaving myself incredibly vulnerable for said maneuver. Perfect, perfect. Fire assaults on everything. Just a shame I had to get stuck in the stasis bomb. But I think that seals the deal. As terrifying as a fleet as that is, we managed to somehow survive. Although if they had, in all honesty, if they had tracked cannons, would that have been, well, I wonder how much more terrifying this fleet would be with a tracked cannon. Since after all, I didn't really engage them on the prow, even though they eventually turned into my fleet. At least if nothing else, that's a demonstration this fleet can get victory. Since I didn't really get any critical hits until the very end, or when they start mutinying, in all honesty. At least it felt like it. Again, the only thing that I could have done better, of course, was the going Evil Suns, since that rotation speed bonus alone is probably more worth it, and more mobility to boot. So maybe maybe that is a really scary fleet, even though we just witnessed a victory. Since it's really hard to imagine how a tracked can would work, if it played out exactly as we just saw with me just going in on the flank. Now we face off against the Space Marines. This could be a bit problematic, depending on what they're utilizing, I guess. Since after all, I have a very low amount of point defense just due to being orcs, and my Roks are a lot more expensive for light cruisers, so I'm going to have a lot of difficulty dealing with ordnance if they have a heavy abundance of them. But since they don't have a lot of raw firepower on their own, I could probably still wear them down, especially with some lucky critical hits. It's more the double battle barges I'm kind of afraid of. And it does come down. I definitely need to try and grab the objective here. Especially since, yeah, I'm going to grab this point and probably move over to the left here. Although, what kind of ships do I expect to grab this gas cloud point? If they have any of their battle barges there, assuming they are utilizing battle barges, that could... Well, actually, that'd be so far out of the way, but it would mean they have a micro warp jump. If they're going that route, 3 cruisers, or at least 2 battle barges. If the one with the micro warp jump might go over here, since there's a lot more reason to be on the left side, just because it's easier to control these 3 points if things do drag out. Either way, I gotta remember my stances, that would help there, because I didn't really do that for my Roks after all. And again, I kind of expect... I think I want the battleship more in the middle here, because the Roks should be able to just grab this point on their own. And then we'll see what happens there.
Move that junk.
Alright, this looks like 3 cruisers and a battle barge, so without a doubt, micro warp jump is on this cursed thing. And I think I'm going to prioritize weapons on that. Maybe generator might be good. And since these are strike cruisers, I want to just destroy the engines. Since morale is not likely to work for me.
You got it.
Other than that...
Move that junk.
Oh, they're seeing things, I think. I'm not sure.
What do you want? Faster, you grots.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
If only they knew.
We's ready.
Although, I think I need to avoid the battle barge. It's the simple fact of the matter. Since I'm not going to have... It's going to take an eternity for me to actually critically hit them. So, that is going to... Yeah, I'm not going to cripple the battle barge anytime soon, but I know there is a micro warp jump on that thing. It almost seems to demand it. Either way, I could pin down the cruisers decently in this corner. It's just a question on preparing for said battle barge. And I'm just wondering, destroying the deck's not really helpful because morale is not even a thing on Space Marines. I'm basically trying to talk myself out of prioritizing the weapons on the battle barge. I could do good boarding damage to it at least. Nope, that was the wrong button, dang it, stupid me. Not a problem there.
What do you want?
And now let's boost on forward. I do gotta watch for boarding. Well, it's gonna be hard to tell if there's any boarding parties here because I think it glitches, or at least I can't see the fighters until they get within sensor range if they're launched or fly through a gas cloud.
What do you want?
Okay, I saw this coming. That's what I should have seriously been looking for, but I can dodge these.
We's ready.
Barely, but we're not out of it yet because they're gonna hit my other Rok here. If only I was paying attention more, then I would have been able to avoid that pretty well. And that was probably a stupid idea too. Either way, they only have 3 charges to them.
Orks, orks, orks.
That I can deal with them. And there's some...
Enemy ship sighted.
Alright, so just stealing points, that's fine. That is fine, I'll have to deal with that. The good news is, again...
Strategic area.
Oh, hold that thought.
Here we go.
Gotta dodge the rocks, because I can do that.
Retro's on.
The enemy
Or
has
dodge the
seized a
torpedoes, rather.
strategic area.
We's ready.
Now, I shouldn't be trying to boost, because that's not going to help me
Retro's
in
on.
dodging those boring torpedoes.
We's ready.
But there's no fighters on. Okay, I was going to say there are no fighters. And that's not entirely true.
We won.
And in fact, they're going after this other ship here, so...
The fight is over here. Hit the red button.
Try and dodge these to the best of my ability, but it's not going to help too much.
Orks is best. Enemy ship sighted.
Dodge the rocks.
Move that junk.
Dodge the torpedoes as much as possible. Since I can just barely dodge them.
Retro's on. Orks, orks, orks.
It's not all that fancy. But if I outlast them, that helps a
What
ton.
do you want?
If I could be so lucky.
You want us over there?
And can you boost? You tell me you can boost, so I don't know if that's true or not.
Sighted.
I'm a little bit in disbelief, because I think I'm being lied to.
What do you want? You want us over there?
And I would love engine critical hits, but I don't think I'm gonna get it.
You got it, boss.
Not much I can do about them. I can boost and dodge, if only slightly.
We's ready.
I do have the range at least, so that helps some.
Time to stomp them. Move that junk.
Now, how are we doing on boarding torpedoes? Since I should be... I'm not really doing a good job utilizing
Locked on, boss.
the gas clouds or anything like that.
Orks is best.
I want critical hits, you're not giving them to me, sadly.
25% of strategic points.
Well.
Orks
Not much
is
I could do
best.
there, and I have a fire... Oh, I'm still gonna get stuck in a stasis bomb, am I?
You got it.
Just barely.
Yeah?
And sadly, engaging the battle barge is not what I want to do.
We's ready.
But I scared off the R1s for the time being, so that's probably the best I could do.
What you want?
And I have the armor to deal with their weaponry really well.
We'll fight another day.
Can. No, I cannot rally.
Roks.
You have seized a
So I'm just gonna let the
strategic
boring damage do its thing. Which they're conveniently the torpedoes are conveniently missing.
Here we go.
And we got the prow hit. Can I? I want the crew to die, but it's doing too good of a damn job dodging the dang boarding torpedoes that it's not going to die.
Orks is best.
Alright, I guess I'll have... Oh, now it gets boarded.
calculated 25%
My entire strategy is going up in smokes quite heavily here.
Orks is best. Mark that
And the battle barge, of course, is not going to go down anytime soon.
faster, you Roks.
I do have track cannon, but I don't... This is going to go badly. If I got in one early critical hit on these strike cruisers, like I do friggin' right now,
You got it, boss.
this battle could go a lot better for me. Although I can protect the flagship still. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, but let's continue to board the flagship at
The
least.
fight is over here. Yeah? You want us over there?
Just keep boarding. Ideally, just cripple the hell out of these things, ideally. Ideally. Flagship is gonna fall apart on me. And it lost its mega cannons too, so...
Here we go.
I don't think I'm gonna get to do the damage I need to now, sadly. Especially since... Yeah, it's not gonna do enough critical hit, not enough troop damage to kill off unless I get really lucky and they do max damage all the time. Which is not gonna happen here. I'm in the middle of everything though, but I don't think I'm gonna cancel the micro warp jump, sadly. We stopped the boarding there. That's not much. I really wanted that flagship to still work. And it's still probably not going to work all that much. It has the crew, but unless I can get a plasma bomb and not really much of a track cannon, it's not going to do me a lot of good. Yeah, everything's falling apart now, dang it. I did not want to engage the battle barge because now it took a bunch of damage that I didn't want. If I could have saved it for last, that'd be a different story though.
You have accumulated 50% of strategic points.
I just couldn't get the critical hit, sadly, on the strike cruisers. Just isolating one of them and be able to force an engagement would have helped so much more. Because as you can see, everything is at half health. And that doesn't really help in weakening them at all.
We'll get 'em, boss.
And trying to prioritize weapons didn't really help a whole lot because I'm just dying to the boarding. Which does not care so much about that.
Here we go. You ain't a boss of me.
Well.
It went bang bang, boss.
I'm just wondering how I could have done that differently. Because I do have the same speed as their strike cruisers, I just need to cut them off a little bit better. I just went straight at them when they were high in the gas cloud there. So that's unfortunate. Because there was possibility for things to go well there, but again, I need to cripple their ships if they're going to run from me like that. And of course, I didn't want to engage the battle barge, since it would take too damn long to kill on its own. Ah well. Alright, let's have some fun with chaos, shall we? And in theory, this could play out very similarly to how my match against Space Marines did, although I want to believe that I would have a lot more longevity in this fight, simply because Chaos like to rely more on the raw damage potential and not so much the boarding, although they are without a doubt going to have the potential to take out a few of my Roks. But the battleship should be perfectly fine, I want to believe at least. Let's just hope. Well, I kind of already know this is probably going to be a game of cat and mouse. I'm going to be chasing after them quite significantly, so I am going to have to rely quite heavily on good critical hits to eventually get the kills. The real trick, though, is how to best manage grabbing the objectives. Since they are very easily going to grab the points faster than me, especially if they're going like Acherons, maybe a couple battleships, but at least the battleships don't have really good turning speed. And I conveniently have these 3 points. Almost all the points are in a nice little triangle formation. So regardless of where I am, in theory I should be able to have good coverage of protecting 3 points. It's just the speed of capturing them that's might be a bit problematic, especially if they are also diligent at grabbing them. We will see what happens. But with my 200 speed, I should be able to tail them really damn well. I just gotta not fly directly at them. That's a bit of the problem, and that probably is what hurt me the most in that Space Marine match. After all, they managed to just outrun me basically. And I didn't get to do enough damage I would have liked. Either way, what are we looking at? 5 ships? This could very well be Acheron's. I'm trying to remember if there are any other fleets that involve 5 ships, and none of them really come to mind. But I do have the speed, I have decent armor, and the raw hit points to take the lances incredibly well, at least.
Here we go.
So I'm not too worried there. Not until we get started.
The enemy has seized
Since
the
after all, they can't
strategic
destroy my
area.
engines. It's just a battleship that could be a big liability. Since after all, that was kind of what caused me the most grief. If it was able to get a couple of plasma bombs hits in,
Yeah?
maybe had a better arc to maybe connect with the tracked can, that would help a ton. Although sadly, tracked can does not do a whole lot for ramming damage, sadly, with the 83 armor, but
Wings ready.
it is an
You have
option to at
seized
least
the
keep them in an
strategic
ideal
area.
position. And it's definitely going to be pretty key
Orks,
for
orks,
this fleet.
orks.
And in all honesty, I should probably be boosting with this more proactively.
Spade.
It's probably a terrible idea, but we already know the frigate's going to spot me pretty damn soon.
You got it, boss.
That may have been my first mistake, just not trying to keep this thing up with the rest of my fleet.
The fight is over here.
And I'll have to start boosting as soon as possible too. So I am scanner pulse, that's
Hit the
fine.
red button. Wings ready.
And I'll boost... Actually, nope, they just got scared.
You got it, boss.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
So what upgrades do you have? Just emission dissipator, we kind of already knew that.
Orks is best.
And not going to be able to do a whole lot of damage, but
Orks, orks.
if we could get this behind the celestial body, at least she'll survive a good amount of hits there. And that is confirmation of Acheron's,
Move that
which
junk.
means you are my priority right now.
The fight is
And actually,
over
in fact,
here.
I think I separate them as 2 separate squads to try and help with that a little bit.
Hit the red button. The fight
Since
is
lances
over
aren't going to
here.
do a whole lot, although sadly they are hitting the frigate.
Wings ready.
I would like to have defended this thing
got
more,
it,
but
boss.
it's sadly just going to die a miserable death right now.
What do you want? Full speed.
But we'll boost everything in. Lances are going to hurt a bit.
Move that junk.
Nope, this is going to suck. Thankfully it didn't hit them, but can we pressure them?
Faster, you grots.
Since sadly, using my boosters did set me up a bit for that stasis bomb.
Enemy ship sighted.
Although I can start hitting them, I just gotta pinch them really well. That's a bit of the problem here.
Faster, you grots.
I will be in range in a moment, but I gotta get in range. That's the only thing.
Orks, orks.
And I actually gotta pincer them.
The fight is over here.
Since if any of them get an engine critical hit, that helps a ton.
Move that junk.
I could take these hits, I'm just mindful. Be very mindful on the fire assaults.
You want us over there?
Since I don't ideally...
Wings
Nope,
ready.
just keep going. Damn it.
Here we go.
I was really hoping you would not get stuck there.
Hit the red button.
Alright,
Faster, you grots.
so shields are down.
What do you want?
Try and circle around them there. I gotta be very careful, this could suck.
Orks,
This pretty much is gonna suck with a rock already being dead. The only problem is if I did not split up my rocks like I did, and please get moving. I kinda need you to get moving. We are getting hits, but no engine critical hits, sadly. And you're about to just burn away.
You got it, boss.
Just any engine critical hits would be nice right now. If I could somehow pull it
Faster,
off.
you grots. We'll get 'em, boss.
And I'm gonna get stuck in a stasis bomb there, so that's a lot of damage to be had.
You want us over there?
And is the tricky position if I want to keep lock on available or not. And actually,
You got it, boss.
you could try and grab the points for me.
Orks is best.
Since you're kind of being focused down.
25% of strategic points.
And I should be using a track can a little more proactively there, since that can help a ton as well.
You got it, boss.
We did decent amount of damage, but this is definitely not looking good for me, especially with the flagship getting focused down some. And I really don't want to switch over to reload, since that doesn't really help me a whole lot, sadly.
Ship side. You got it,
And they are, without a doubt, going to scanner pulse as soon as I get into the gas cloud. Let's not kid ourselves. I just gotta hopefully have the Roks take these hits for me.
The fight is over here.
Since sadly 2 Roks are not gonna do it, I just gotta hopefully
Orks.
grab these points to kind of
Let's show her.
give me some kind of advantage. It's not much of one, but gotta
You
try
have seized
something.
a strategic area.
Come on, why are my boosters? I see it grayed out, so I'm wondering if it's actually working or not.
You got it. Here we go. Yeah.
Sadly, this thing's just gonna die a slow, painful death.
Orks.
It's not gonna help very much. This is just
Orks is
a
best.
terrible way to die, basically, is what it's looking like.
Here we go. You got it.
And with multiple frigates, it's not like I can actually keep myself from being hit in.
Yeah.
Normally, I have the
Move that
durability
junk.
to kind of just outlast the objectives, but when I never had the objective advantage to begin with, it doesn't work well for me, sadly. And you're about to die. It's a shame.
Orks, orks.
If I had all 5 Roks up there, maybe I could have killed that Acheron.
Move that junk.
But again, the problem with that is, as I'm sadly going to fall off the point,
Yeah.
is then they would just gone down here and then my Roks would be nowhere nearby.
You want us over there?
And I don't think I'm going to get to cripple you enough. I got some decent hull damage, but no engine critical hits to really commit to anything.
Move that junk.
Come on, any critical hits would be nice. I have lock-on mega cannons after all. And the fact that I am doing hull damage does mean that I am doing damage. Or at least have a decent chance of a critical hit after all.
Orks,
I just
orks,
naturally
orks.
need those critical hits for it to work.
Faster, you grots. The fight is over here.
So sadly we're not going to be able to... Well, we denied the objective, but we still have an objective deficit. And with most of my Roks gone, I'm not in good shape to do anything here. And sadly Plasma Bomb was no good either.
Enemy ship sighted.
Sadly that's probably not going to do very much. They're just going to burn more of their boosters. But at least we minimize the damage on that. I think it's too late for me to actually get victory of any kind,
The
sadly.
enemy has seized a
If I could have
strategic
got
area.
crippled one of them right off the bat, that would be a different story.
You have
But I think it's
seized a
way too late
strategic
now,
area.
sadly. And let's see, are you boosting? My boosters are grayed out and I'm worried that everything is glitched on me. Which is really important if I'm not going to get my big red button.
You have accumulated 25%.
I'm honestly
of
wondering,
strategic
okay.
points.
I was honestly wondering if I wasn't allowed to boost anymore for some reason. Since sadly I only have 2 objectives, so even the extra durability is not helping me.
You got it, boss.
And I don't think about... Yep, you got the repairs, but that's not going to help me unless I get another critical hit.
What do you want?
And the frigate's still alive,
The enemy
surprisingly.
has accumulated 50% of strategic points.
Locked on, boss.
Can I get a... Okay, I got a critical hit, but it may not mean much.
Hit the ripper!
Unless I could kill both those Akrons right now.
Faster, you grots!
That might be the exception.
Orks is best.
And now we're going to see how important those critical hits are for me.
Strategic area.
Although sadly,
You want us over there?
that rock might not survive in a moment.
Orks, orks, orks! Hit the ripper!
If I could pull you in
Golden point
to the... I don't think you're going to survive, but... Nope, not with the scanner pulse.
ready.
It was a panic scanner pulse at that.
Move that junk!
Sadly, I only get the one kill, sadly.
Yeah?
Nope, that was my... not my repair, sadly. I don't need to tell you how drastically this match could play out if I can get those critical hits.
Got it, boss.
But since these are battle cruisers, that's really hard to pull off. And right now, I'm just at a 2-to-1 deficit in the score. And that flagship should die, or at least that cruiser should die. I saw I had boosters up available. That is unfortunate. I could still grab it really quickly.
Full speed!
I thought I could, but I guess not. Ah, my. I just could not get it.
What you want?
Unfortunately. And I'm just barely outside vision, too. This is probably not a very exciting match to watch. Sadly. And even then, I probably was not going to get the critical hit I wanted on the flagship. And sadly, the plasma bombs did really nothing for me here, so... What would have been a better choice? Because the Nova cannons don't... I feel like they would not be reliable enough to actually get damage. Never mind the fact they would not get critical hits as well. But again, if I was diligent enough to grab the points, this would be a different story.
We'll fight another
At least it would be a lot more closer at least. I don't think it would still be a win though, unless I somehow had 4 points to offer. Because yeah, I'm not going to get the track cannon. Okay, you ran out of boosters, but again, that does not help me at all. This has already been decided.
over there. The fight's
Oh well.
over here.
That is a shame. Because I can do pretty decently against Chaos with these rock fleets, just because of how durable they are.
You have accumulated 50%.
But as it stands with this match, it's just a slow, inevitable decline, and there's not really much I could do about it. Unless I want to detour the cruiser, or the battleship. But it's like the only thing actually doing damage at this point is the problem. It's just a shame my frigates kind of got isolated.
You ain't the boss of me.
Since now I have no way to spot them to take advantage of the range. Oh, and now you get 2 fire critical hits at random on me.
Hit the red button.
I don't even think I'm gonna get my second kill, am I? Nope, not with my sensors even gone. So that's unfortunately not a very exciting match there.
Enemy ship sighted.
Again, if I was more diligent grabbing the points maybe, then perhaps I could have done something, or at least it would have been a lot more closer. Because that's how Orks are normally going to win in that type of matchup. They use their sheer hit points to bully the opponents off the points, and then I just steal them. But sadly, with nothing but light cruisers and frigates, I'm not really grabbing them in a timely manner. Since the battle cruisers are grabbing them 3 times faster than me. Keep that in mind too, that's a big factor. And it's really felt there to an extent. Not a very exciting match though, I will admit, sadly.